Charles, you are right. The Fed will cut interest rates in September. Can you really see the future? They're going to cut it. And then we are going to get the Clarity Act. And then we're going to have the Giga Chad bull run.
Welcome to the dawn of the digital golden age. Feels like it's a walk in the park in a bed of roses and that everything couldn't be better, right? I know how you guys are feeling. I know how a lot of people in the crypto space are feeling right now. They're feeling fear. They're feeling reluctance, hesitancy, doubt, maybe even a little bit of PTSD from last cycle, wondering why. Why aren't my altcoins higher by now, especially Cardano, which is the focus of this video. So I'm here to tell you, I came on here 2 weeks ago and I said I was buying the Bitcoin dip. I stand by that. I am still incredibly bullish. There is nothing that has changed my opinion about whether or not we are in a bull run as of right now. Bitcoin could even drop into the early and mid 90s and we're still in a bull run long term. So I want to get on here and remind you to keep your head in the game, stay cool, calm, and collected. And let's go back through the journey of Cardano and why I'm doubling down and buying this dip in anticipation of the Giga Chad bull run that Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson speaks of. As you guys know, I'm a huge Cardano fan. It was one of my first bigger investments in the space alongside Snoop Dogg's son, Cordell Brothers. So shout out to him. He and I have that in common. And I just believe that Charles is a visionary founder. I believe that Cardano could have what it takes to win this race, to be one of the horses that wins the race, the blockchain boom, similar to the likes of Amazon back in the .com boom. Fun fact, Amazon corrected 90% after the .com boom bust and now came back to be one of the top 5 biggest, largest assets in the world. And that's what I believe Cardano could be capable of over time and why I'm so bullish long-term on ADA. Now, previously, you've seen me talk about ADA, and we actually came up with a log scale long-term chart prediction for ADA at $75. Now, that sounds crazy right now. But I want to remind you that Amazon ran all the way up to $106 back in the .com boom, back down to $6. Everybody's bearish. Nobody believed in it. And now to where it has become the $1 trillion giant that it is today. So will we have a similar circumstance for blockchains like Cardano? Time will tell, but I'm going to lead you down the journey of the path that may get us there. One of those is the Bitcoin DeFi boom that Charles Hoskinson speaks of in a podcast with me, which I'll be showing clips of in today's video, which is a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity on Bitcoin, which has virtually infinite liquidity. Although the path to a $75 Cardano might be long, I believe this bull run we could reach anywhere from $6 to $10 Cardano and upwards of that number if things get really heated as they have in previous cycles. So I'm going to take you through the chart where I first invested, what happened after the last halving, why this cycle looks a little bit different, and why Charles Hoskinson also believes that we may be in an extended cycle to the end of 2026. So we're going to discuss in this video the catalysts to get to that Giga Chad bull run that Charles references in this opening clip, how we will get there, the journey through Bitcoin DeFi on Cardano, why it is such a massive opportunity, how much Cardano has grown in these past couple of years, and also some motivational content at the end from Charles himself. For those of you who are feeling like you're ready to give up, never give up, keep your head in the game. That's why I'm here. I am also a very long-term investor, which a lot of the people on this channel are. We do teach trading. We will be getting into trading, but this video is about my long-term outlook and about how I'm playing this bull run and why I doubled down on this dip for Cardano. So if you like that, smash the like button, hit the subscribe, and stay tuned because we're going to go on one wild ride this episode. And welcome to the show. I'm your host, Megan Nilsson, aka Crypto Megan, and let's get to it. All right, so first up, we're going to have a look at just exactly why Charles believes we are going to have the Giga Chad bull run that he speaks of. Let's check it out.
There's a lot of disagreement is, do we still have 4-year cycles, right? And since you've been in the industry has run on these, the market cycles have run in these 4-year cycles, obviously. I'm curious if you think the 4-year cycle is still intact.
No, it's a different cycle. It's something different going on. And I don't even think we're close to the peak of the bull market. People have gotten so pessimistic and cynical that they're like, oh, the market's dead and we've ballooned. It's like, dude, clarity's not even passed yet. When clarity gets passed, the Mag 7 are going to enter the cryptocurrency space. You're going to have stable coins go above 1 to 2 trillion in issuance. You're going to have real world assets come in. The total market cap aggregate is going to be over 10 trillion. And so I call this the Giga Chad bull run. It's like the biggest bull run we've ever had. And when Bitcoin starts stalling, then the alts will pop. And so you're going to see great ratios that, come from this whole thing. And it'll die off a little bit, but it's like every time you have these windows, you go to new all-time highs and then you stay at new all-time lows, and so it's no longer a 4-year cycle because it's not retail led anymore. It's more led by institutions and it's more led by massive investors. But simply put, there's just too much going on. The inventories on Bitcoin are too low. You got these DATs injecting gargantuan amounts of money into the market, and there's no way not to see a bull run, from all.
When do you think we hit? Wait, so what are we at today? 4 trillion, I think.
Yeah,
we're at 4 trillion. When do you think we hit 10 trillion?
Before the end of the cycle, and I think the cycle will last throughout 2026 because clarity is going to be the catalyst. I think that really bootstraps it up. And the only reason why we haven't super taken off was that there was an irrational exuberance when Trump got elected, and then it didn't immediately pay off, and so people got a little crazy about it. And then, the tariffs and all the macroeconomic stuff kind of shook the market a little bit, but people are starting to look at crypto as a counter-cyclic and as a hedge asset to the collapse of the US dollar or, to inflation or, other such things. So
all right. Wow. There's so much to unpack here. And first of all, yes, I've said on this channel so many times that I believe that we are not in the traditional 4-year cycle period anymore. Things are looking like they're stair-stepping. We haven't had these parabolic environments where things shoot straight up and then they have to come straight down. Some things have changed. I mean, publicly traded companies own over 1 million Bitcoin now, publicly traded companies. And that doesn't include countries, sovereign wealth funds. 1 million Bitcoin, there's a stat that says that there's 4 to 7 million Bitcoin that could be lost forever. I mean, the supply shock is imminent. It just is. And just like Charles says, this isn't a retail-led asset class anymore, cycle anymore. This is now becoming something bigger than that, bigger than our bubble that we've been in previously. It is maturing as an asset class, and it's undeniable. Things are different, and it doesn't look like we are in the same 4-year cycle. Things do look different, and the Clarity Act he speaks about, he believes could be the potential catalyst to set altcoins soaring to new heights. So let's have a look at that. But first up, just a summary of what he said. Charles Hoskinson, the GOAT. Remember, I said the Giga Chad bull run is coming. We're going to see 250K Bitcoin and trillions enter the space for alts. Genius and Clarity Acts will be the catalysts. I think he has a major point here. And then you may be wondering, well, what exactly is the Clarity Act? So I have another clip here to play for you about the Clarity Act and the similarities between the dot-com boom and now, similar to when the Clinton administration let the internet rip. And as a result, we have Amazon, Uber, Google, all the major institutions in the US. That could be happening again if this Clarity Act is passed. Let's have a look.
We passed the Clarity Act in the House before we left for August. We showed overwhelming bipartisan support. Why? Because we know we need the United States to be the leader in Web3 technology, and that means we need a regulatory framework for digital assets here in the United States. This is possibly the most important piece of legislation that the Senate's going to pass in a bipartisan manner later this year. I'd love to see the Senate bring up the Clarity Act again, as passed by the House with overwhelming support. And if they do that, I think what we have an opportunity to do is cement the U.S. as the global leader in the digital assets space. This is incredibly important at a period of time where the United States dominated Web 2. It led to big tech. I don't love all aspects of big tech, but at least they're domiciled in the United States of America. Web 3 is an opportunity to democratize the internet and make sure that that innovation and development is occurring in the United States, providing appropriate consumer protections. And if the Senate acts on the Clarity Act as passed by the House, we have an opportunity to truly unleash the golden age of digital assets here in the United States and maintain the United States as the world leader in the digital assets, but also importantly in the broader tech space as we see this evolution from Web 2 into Web 3.
Wow. Super powerful. I mean, the Clarity Act, which could open up everything, which could lead to the floodgates opening up, the trillions just pouring in as the U.S. takes the lead. Of course, that's what the U.S. wants. As we have a pro-crypto administration with the Trump administration, they do want to position themselves as the world leader. And this would be an important piece of regulation to pass in order to do so. It's really exciting. The way he describes it about democratizing the internet and being able to let it rip similar to the .com age. I want to see it. We all want to see it. Charles Hoskinson believes that this is the catalyst that could lead us to that GigaChad bull run. So keep your eyes peeled for this throughout the year, and let's see what happens with the Clarity Act. And just in case you're wondering, the Clarity Act, simply put, is just made up of simple things. If a blockchain is decentralized, it's a commodity, CFTC, and if it's not, it's a security. So quite simply put, people want to know what is considered a commodity and what is considered a security and how will that be traded. Until then, we're kind of fumbling around in the dark in that aspect. So that will unleash a lot of liquidity from investors and companies and the likes who now have even more clarity with the Clarity Act. So that'll allow trading to be easier. Everything will be out in the open and very black and white, and there will be no feeling around in the dark anymore. That'll be a huge catalyst indeed. And this is just something I wanted to show you from Amazon just to kind of hammer home my point. Amazon in the early 2000s was dismissed by investors for prioritizing long-term sustainability over quick gains. During the dot-com crash, it dropped 90%, but its strong fundamentals ensured survival and eventual dominance. How much patience do you have? That is what this comes down to. The money is always transferred from the impatient hands to the patient hands. And the fact of the matter is that people in crypto have become addicted to quick dopamine hits. And when they don't get that, it's scary. It feels off. They come in here to get rich overnight. And that is not what this is. This is about wealth building. This is about, being first in a movement, right? Being part of the early adopters, as if you had the chance to go back before the internet became a huge thing and be involved in that early wave. Well, now here we are. It's not going to be easy. In fact, oftentimes to get ahead in life, you've got to do the hard thing. And when you get the choice, pick the hard thing every day over the easier thing, because that will lead to better results over time, most likely. And I'm not talking about, hard work versus smart work. I'm talking about the difficult things that people don't want to do because they want to take shortcuts. Don't take those shortcuts. Build up your wealth right now. I am buying this dip. I'm doubling down on Cardano, and I'm going to show you exactly what my plan is here as we get into the chart. But I just want you to visualize this, okay? And have a look at this. Amazon IPO'd at $18 in 1997, almost 500% in 2 years to 106. .com crash came, minus 95% to $6. I mean, would you have given up on it then? Most people would, right? 5 years later, 1,400% back to $90, and today a $1 trillion giant, and the rest is history. So will Cardano be able to do that? Like I said in the intro of the video, if you chart this out on a log scale, on the weekly log scale, it shows Cardano going to a $75 price point. And I know a lot of you are thinking it's crazy. You're going to give me, a hard time for it in the comments. I'm simply saying what the charts show, okay? And is that capable? Is that possible over time? Well, it very well could be, right? This isn't overnight. This isn't from today to tomorrow. Like I said, my bull run target for this cycle is between $5 to $10 for Cardano, and even higher if things really get overheated. But over time, I believe this asset, Cardano, will do incredible things. And part of that is because of all of these use cases, including DeFi on Bitcoin via Cardano. That's a powerful thing. I broke it down in my podcast with Charles. I'll play a few clips for you here at the end. But I just want you guys to understand why I'm so bullish and why I believe that there's a lot of room to run here for Cardano. Next up, Charles Hoskinson says, nothing's going to stop this train. Crypto's going to 10 trillion, and the bulk of that is going to be in the US. Exciting time. We got to get this done, guys. There is nothing that is going to stop in the train. Like I've said on previous videos, to all of my, my live followers and community, shout out to you. Miss you guys. We'll be getting back to those lives very, very soon. But I'm in the works of building something new and incredible because I want people to be able to take advantage of this bull run as much as humanly possible. I want to help you gain that financial freedom and just do things right this time, right? And learn how to do them properly. So we're working on some very interesting projects. But until then, shout out to you you guys, and nothing's going to stop this train. All that matters is, when will you board the train? It's passing. The train is passing your station right now. Will you board the train at your city in your station, or will you have to catch up with it sometime later and board it a little bit further down the line? That's up to you. That's up to you. But right now, altcoins, Total 2 and Total 3 are looking really good. And all that's required here is patience. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the growth and future aspect of Cardano, as there is a lot to be bullish on. First up, I love this. Reminder, if staked ADA were counted as TVL, Cardano would rank number 2 in the world. 21.86 billion ADA is currently staked, worth 18.36 billion. That's higher than Solana, Tron, BSC, and every other chain. Only Ethereum is above. And that speaks volumes, okay? And here's why. And when you plug it into ChatGPT, asking what is the significance of this, here's what comes back, okay? With 21.86 billion ADA stake, 66 to 70% of circulating supply, Cardano has one of the highest staking participation rates of any major blockchain. This shows extremely strong community trust and alignment with the protocol in comparison with other chains that have lower percentages staked, meaning fewer holders are actively participating in network security. Not only that, but usually you stake your coins when you're bullish long-term, right? And you just park them and you stake them. If you don't do that, it's not necessarily going to mean that you're not bullish long-term, but if you do that, it's definitely a sign that you're probably more long-term aligned with a project. Economic security. Staking directly contributes to security of the Cardano blockchain, so having 18 billion plus in valued commitment signals that the economic foundation of the network is very strong. Misleading TVL comparisons. DeFi TVL from places like DeFi Llama often undervalue Cardano because native staking isn't included, right? And we are talking native staking now. If it were, Cardano would instantly jump to number 2 globally, ahead of Solana, Tron, and BSC, all of which get recognition for higher TVL today. This means Cardano looks smaller than it actually is. Okay, liquidity versus locking. Cardano's design allows stakers to keep custody of their ADA while staking. It isn't locked. That is a huge, huge feature as well. This is different from Ethereum, where staked ETH without liquid staking derivatives is effectively locked until withdrawals are enabled. This makes Cardano's staking model more user-friendly, but ironically also keeps its economic weight invisible in TVL stats. Narrative and market perception. Crypto markets love rankings and narratives. If staked data were included, Cardano would instantly look like one of the biggest ecosystems, shifting the perception that it's behind in adoption. Okay, so this is an important metric to consider. So I bought here in around February, and then you can see here that I mapped out in December 2020. December 28th, right before the end of the year, was right when Cardano started to make its massive rise. Now, when you compress the chart, this whole thing just looks like a flat line, right? But then you open it up, and actually there's quite a bit of activity going on, but more or less it was in a range until December that year after the halving, when it absolutely exploded to over $3, and the rest is history, right? Well, this cycle is looking very different. So here was the halving, April 19th, 2024, and Cardano ranged down and to the right after the halving, which is what it did last time as well. We did have some explosive price action from 32 cents all the way up to $1.33, which is phenomenal. But we did not have this explosive sort of parabolic run. This looks more like a stair step, right? So now we have Cardano around 81 cents. We could get a correction down to around 73 to 74 cents, and that would be totally healthy, and I would be buying more there. So, will Cardano have one of these massive parabolic blow-off tops? Maybe it'll look more like a stair step from here on out. But I do think that we're in for a very, very explosive run this past phase of the bull run, and that we will get another massive rise in Cardano. That is just my thought. But I have a long-term outlook on this, and that's the way I'm playing it. So next up is the Midnight protocol is making all the waves right now in crypto. They had, or potentially will have, one of the biggest airdrops in crypto history. And I got to sit down at this past conference in Germany, where I hosted the stage at conference with Fami, the president of the Midnight Foundation. Truly phenomenal team. And this next era of blockchain and scalability and mass adoption all requires privacy. You wouldn't want your bank account transactions broadcast in public for everybody to see. It's the same thing in blockchain, to simplify it to the utmost. It is the same thing. You don't want all of your transactions broadcast. It's not scalable. It's not viable. So Midnight helps with data protection as well as privacy on chain, right? So Websoft is joining forces with Midnight to build an institutional grade dark dark pool trading platform. This project will use Midnight's privacy-enhancing technology to create a secure, fully anonymous, decentralized exchange. Midnight works on zero-proof knowledge rollups, ZK rollups. It's really interesting technology, and I'm excited to dive even deeper into this ecosystem. So the partnership addresses a foundational challenge for institutional finance and decentralized ecosystems, where the need for confidentiality conflicts with inherent transparency of public blockchains, and will include a full suite of DeFi components for developers. This is the future. And now on to a partnership highlight. I am really excited to announce that I've done a new partnership with iTrust Capital, the leading crypto IRA company. Okay, so this is super exciting for me because I believe in a long-term vision and wealth building over time. And there's no better way than to pay yourself right now for the future. Your future self will highly appreciate this. And it is the absolute best way to take advantage of this infrastructure that we have, which is you can buy and sell crypto tax-free within your IRA account. And iTrust is the most trusted platform right now. They've done over 14 billion in transactions and have over 200,000 accounts. Guys, this is a no-brainer for me. As you know, as you're trading and making massive gains, you'll have to track those gains and pay capital gains taxes on them, but not in the crypto IRA. You can buy and sell and trade tax-free within your IRA with iTrust. It is absolutely amazing. I will be adding Cardano, Bitcoin, and other cryptos to this IRA for long term, where you can buy and sell and trade for very low fees. It doesn't cost anything to open up the account. You do it in minutes. And I'm very excited for this as a partnership. If you use my link in the description below, you will get a $100 sign up bonus, and it is absolutely worth it, guys. I will be talking more about them in the near future, and also doing interviews with some of the team members just to get into the bottom of, why this is so powerful. So there are so many tax advantages. You can buy and sell crypto, gold, and silver 24/7, unlike traditional markets, at low cost and no monthly fees. So this is truly a game changer, guys, and make your retirement funds work for you. I am very excited for this, and I can't wait to share more on it. So shout out to iTrust, and thank you for sponsoring this channel. I cannot wait to delve deeper into this and into my whole plan, the entire program that I'm building to help teach you guys different strategies to help build that wealth long term. So here's my landing page. You can scroll down and see a little bit more about iTrust Capital and how it works. And funding is just, you can sign up for an account within minutes. It is seamless and easy, and it's actually very exciting as well. So you can use the code Megan9 to get your $100 funding bonus, or use the link in the description below. And shout out to iTrust Capital for sponsoring the channel, and I can't wait to delve deeper into this. Now to finish the episode, I want to take you down the journey of just exactly how Bitcoin DeFi on Cardano would look. And this epiphany moment, the way that Charles Hoskinson describes it, as simple as an on-off toggle switch to go on that DeFi journey via Cardano, right? So he describes it almost as a vacation and equates it to the analogy that gold is only valuable if it sticks around the mine, referring to Bitcoin and how we should actually be able to get yield out of that and use it for a greater purpose rather than to just sit in the gold mine. Let's check it out.
So what we did is we tried to pull an Apple with, the iPod with the wheel. We said, you know what, we're going to do the toggle. So with a little toggle switch,
Nice.
you have your Bitcoin and you have a switch, and you push the switch and it says DeFi mode. And there you go.
Wow.
You're in Bitcoin DeFi mode, and no mention of another network, no mention of other things. And we found a way so that all your transactions, you can pay your fees in Bitcoin, and all your returns you can get back in Bitcoin. And then the third part is, well, what can you do with it? Where does the yield come from? Can you lend it? Can you stake it? Can you buy things with it? Can you trade it on DEXs? So you need a DeFi ecosystem for
Right.
this. So if you like a decentralized ecosystem with no central point of failure, then Cardano is for you. And
Right.
so there's a great overlap between these two ecosystems. And ADA is the deflationary asset, just like Bitcoin is a deflationary asset. So it's very similar. It's a slightly different emission schedule, but inflation is monotonically decreasing. So once Bitcoiners start seeing all of that, they say, okay, the principles align, the technology aligns, and it does in many ways feel like a spiritual successor or continuation of what they're looking for. But what's nice is that
Bitcoin and Cardano kind of make each other better. Bitcoin is a very secure audit layer. It's a giant value store, a lot of liquidity. Cardano is an amazing computation layer. And so when you pull these two pieces together and you have a little toggle to be able to go back and forth, we can allow a seamless experience. If you want to live in a world where every transaction is always secured by Bitcoin, there's a path to do that. If you want to live in a world where it's a little faster and cheaper and you have still very good security, but it's not completely secured by Bitcoin, there's a way to do that as well. But you don't pick that for the user. You let them decide. And that's really the cool part about that layer too. If you design that UX layer the right way, then it's just basically not only a toggle, but an advanced setting. And you should either pick the default setting or you can pick your own customization of it. And once you start looking at it that way, then maximalists fall into a configuration setting as opposed to a philosophy. They just basically pick the most draconian and expensive way. But then other people will say, actually, I like the other way. I think that's a better way of going about it. But the other paradigm is that it's a silly thing to say that gold is only valuable if it sticks around the gold mine. The Bitcoin network is a gold mine. It's the most expensive and successful gold mine, I think, of all time. And it produces gold, which is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is scarce and it's valuable and it's expensive to make. Well, you can move gold around. And so Bitcoin can go on a vacation. It can go to Coinbase. It can go to, Binance. It can go to other networks as wrapped assets. And you can do things with it. And then after you're done with your vacation, you click the toggle and you go back home.
You toggle back home to where you came from.
Exactly right. And tourism is great. When you look under the hood, if you pay fees in Bitcoin under the hood, there's ADA being transacted there, but the user doesn't see it or feel it. So just like when a tourist goes to France and they have their credit card and they pay in dollars, they don't feel that they're paying in euros. They see the dollars. And there's just some magic infrastructure that just works under the hood. And in this case, it's fully decentralized. And that's how it should be.
And now one of the most important segments that Charles Hoskinson referenced in this podcast with me is the power of RWAs in the lending market, which is going to be gargantuan, as so many people who bought Bitcoin earlier on, or just in general, don't want to sell their Bitcoin because they believe that this asset will rise over time. There is a path to utilizing that Bitcoin through lending protocols and as a collateral so that you don't have to sell it and you can use it for other things, to get yield, to borrow, to lend, to use as collateral. All of these new use cases are going to be absolutely massive. Check it out.
Let's say you got in very early, like Bitcoin at $10 or something like that. Yeah. Well, you probably don't want to sell your Bitcoin at $120,000 and have a gargantuan capital gains event.
Right.
So if your hypothesis is that Bitcoin is just going to continue to get more valuable, well, right now your investment strategy is to buy and hold. Well, what if you could lend it or, do something else
borrow
with it?
Against it.
Yeah. And then if you can do that, then the nice thing is that you don't have a tax event from that, but you can get a yield from it and it'll continue to appreciate in value. And that's what people do all the time in traditional finance. Right. So we think the lending markets are going to be massive for Bitcoin because of the supply dynamics that they have. So that ecosystem side is mostly partner driven. And we have some really cool products on the real finance, the real fi side, so real world assets that we want to bring in.
All right, now on that note of Bitcoin lending being a gargantuan market, check out this tweet, okay, by Adam Livingston. Why Bitcoin-backed lending will change everything. The dam is breaking. As you read this, the global monetary system is imploding. Bitcoin-backed lending is the neutron bomb that vaporizes 500 years of central banking. This is how digital scarcity is weaponized. So it's a really interesting thread that, with some interesting thoughts. I asked ChatGPT to summarize it because it is a very long thread. And the core message is that Adam argues that Bitcoin-backed lending markets marks the irreversible tipping point in global finance, rendering legal tender law meaningless, accelerating fiat collapse, and shifting economic power to those who adopt Bitcoin early. Okay, so I won't go over all of this, but with Bitcoin lending, purchasing power erodes under fiat inflation. With Bitcoin lending, you accelerate fiat's demise by preserving your own wealth. Individual self-preservation leads to the collective collapse of fiat, a Nash equilibrium outcome. The magnitude, Bitcoin-backed lending isn't just financial innovation, it's a controlled demolition of central banking. The shape charge is already in place, threatening governments, banks, and pension funds that rely on fiat. So the final truth, this isn't a future scenario, it's happening now. Platforms are live, billions are locked, institutions are allocating, and governments are paying attention. Early adopters are compounding wealth at exponential rates with unstoppable network effects. Call to action, build your vault and Bitcoin system, stack, borrow, preserve wealth, or cling to fiat and watch wealth evaporate. The Bitcoin lending revolution isn't just about money, it's about power. And as Charles Hoskinson loves to say, we've got to push the power to the edges. So yeah, go and check out that thread. It's absolutely wonderful. But there is a path and a journey in which, we can live off of that Bitcoin in our, eventually through the IRA, the crypto IRA, like I Trust Capital, or just your Bitcoin holdings that you use for your day-to-day life. You can also now use it with Proppy for collateral for property, to buy a property on chain. It is happening now, and it's happening faster than we think, and is truly a beautiful reality. So yes, he is absolutely right about that, and I can't wait for that. And finally, guys, a fun account of Charles Hoskinson's bullet ant ritual in the Amazon, what that felt like and what that led to for him in his life. It's a very unfiltered, unapologetic approach. I absolutely love this moment. It's very candid, and we had a good laugh. And also, he just explains that he pushes himself to his furthest humanly possible limits, right? He's pushing the limits, getting out of his comfort zone, entering the dragon's den to unlock his full potential as a person, as a founder, as a visionary in this space. Tell us just briefly about that and why you do that, and what the takeaway is.
So oftentimes it involves alcohol and YouTube. That's where most of my bread ideas come from late at night. So years ago, I was watching YouTube videos, and I came across this guy did a bullet ant ritual.
Bullet ants.
And bullet ants are like these giant ants, and they have these big stingers, and they inject you with nerve toxins, and these neural toxins are super painful. It feels like getting shot or set on fire. It's really horrible.
Doesn't sound fun.
Oh, it's so bad. So anyway, they have this ritual where you go down to the Amazon, find this tribe called the Satarimawe, and then you convince them to basically let you collect the ants, put them in gloves, and put your hands in the gloves and let them bite you a bunch of times. So I said, you know what? That sounds like a lot of fun. So I kind of looked for an opening in my schedule. And
Is that what occurred to you?
It did. It did.
Right.
I'd rather do that than some of these things at conferences. I'll tell you that. But anyway, so I went down to the Amazon. I trained for a whole year to do it. And it was a big mind game, and we had to go find the tribe. So, sailed up the Amazon River and eventually found them. And then we had to convince them to let us do it. And so then they do everything in their power to kind of like psych you out and make you quit. So the first step is you have to go find the ants. And so you go out in the jungle, and you have to find this very particular tree and tap it with a machete. And then these giant ants come out. They're just huge. And they kind of crawl out up the branches, and they give you a little stick, and you have to use the stick to collect them. Of course, they sting you while you're collecting them, and you put them in a tube. And that was the first step. And then after you fill the tube with a ton of ants, and you have all your stung hands, then you go to stun the ants. And so the next step is you have to find these very specific leaves, and some are poisonous and some are a sedative. And they all look exactly the same. And, your cell phone was of no help. So then you have to find the right leaves and hope you didn't pick the poison ones, and then grind them up and then put them inside the bowl of water. And then you pour all the ants in the tube and hope they don't bite you into the water, and then they go to sleep. It's a sedative for them. Okay. Then you take the sleeping ants, and you have these gloves, and you got to weave them into the gloves one by one meticulously and hope they don't wake up and sting you while you're doing it, which of course they do, because why not? And then they just mess with you more. They're like, it's lunchtime. Let's go get some lunch. And so then you go and you're eating lunch, and you're like, I don't want to fucking eat. You're like, if I get bit by these things, am I going to throw up, shit myself? I mean, what am I going to do here? I don't know what's going on. They take you down to your underwear, and then you go down, they paint you with this black paint, and then you put your arms on it, and they put the gloves on for 8 minutes. And it feels like a sewing machine with a hot needle going into your hands, just like this, and it's just biting you and biting. And they make you dance for all those 8 minutes in this weird ritual where you dance in a circle around while you're getting stung. And then you start getting used to it. You're like, yeah, I can do this. This is good. This is good. It sucks, but it's like a good suck. It's a doable suck.
Okay.
And then it's a neural toxin. So here's the problem with neural toxin. It starts kicking in. So after they take the gloves off, you feel pretty good. You're like, all right.
I did it.
And then you just get this deep throb. It's like a wow. Oh, wow. And every time it does, it feels like someone set your hands on fire. And it's just, oh, this sucks. And it starts like rabies working its way up your arm, and it's just the fire. It just keeps going and going. And then it gets into your chest and into your face, into the top of your head, the tip of your dick, all the way down to your feet. You just feel like you're on fire.
So then that incredible story being told, what was sort of the takeaway for you? Is it just kind of like mental training, and you feel like, wow, I can, like, what do you get out of those sort of excursions?
Well, the most valuable thing in life as a rite of passage for people is to be at the front of the dragon cave and go in. It's a hero's journey, and there's something terrifying and scary, and they build it up and you hear the roars and you smell the sulfur, and then you just have to have that courage to go in. Because everything in life that requires greatness, everything in life that where you really want to do something, you're going to get tested. And it could be a small test, it can be a hard test. You can think about a single mom with 3 kids and working 2 jobs to pay all the bills. And, after like a 16-hour day, comes home and one of the kids has broken the sink and it's just the whole kitchen's flooded. That's the same amount of courage as the Tukandara in a certain respect, because you have to do that every day. You have to show up every single day. So you have to occasionally take yourself out of a comfort zone, and you have to put yourself in a situation where it's terrifying, it's deeply uncomfortable, it's challenging. But if you just commit to it and you go in it, you'll find a way to get to the other side. And
Right.
you're going to face so much uncertainty, you're going to face so much adversity and difficulty. It was hard the last 4 years under Biden, where the U.S. government was literally unified to kill our industry. They sued every major exchange. They shut down people's bank accounts, including one of mine. And they were just vicious, and so unnecessarily vicious and Kafkaesque. They say, come in and register, and then Coinbase tries to do it and they sue them for it.
I mean,
it was
horrendous.
so bad.
Right.
But it got better. We got to the other side, and now we're getting out of it. So you have to learn how to survive and all those things, and you have to develop that resilience.
And I think it's motivating and inspirational. And I want to leave you with that high note. If you're building in a space, do not give up. If you're investing, just stay calm and collected, and patience. Patience is key, guys, and do the hard thing every single time. And that's all I'll leave you with today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like and subscribe. There will be lots more videos like this to come, and I'll see you tomorrow.